and that's it. And now it's ready to sew. So I've got one pair here. So this is at this point really I'm going to now pin it. So that's one pair and that's the other pair. So you can see the shape. So now you can see the shape. So now I'm going to pin it and then I'll get on with it. But guess what? I'm going to pin it. I'm not, when you do this, some people now, when you stitch, you will stitch from there to there, to there, and to there. And then you bag it out like a pillowcase. But what I've found over the years is when I've done that, it's bag out. But what I found that over the years, when I stitched it like that, when you put your swags up, it's always tilting and it's really a nuisance. So what I've found over the years is don't bother to stitch it all the way round, right? It's a bit longer, but it still works. It works better as far as I'm concerned. So from here, you stitch from there to there to there and stop. And then when you've stitched that, ironed it, turn it inside out, is this that point where now you take one of them, a pair, and that 4-inch I told you about, I take 4-inch and I iron it, and then I put 2-inch under. And when I've got that nice edge, that's a nice sharp edge, and then I hem it whichever way I want to do it, on my fellow machine or your hand stitcher or whatever, which is a better quality. And you've got a nice straight edge other than the usual way where you bag it out. And at the bottom of the tail, I put a curtain weight in it. So that helps to keep it straight. So that's a little tip for you. So let me get on now and I will pin this. Right. As you can see on my table behind me, I've got to the stage where now I've got mirror image. You can see that I've separated both the tails. So I've got left and a right. So there's one. And this one is upside down, but you can see it's there. But even though I'm showing you two, I'm just going to work on the one that you can see. It's at this point now that we take our measurement. No, before we do that, it's at this point here, you tack these down to keep them still. Or, as you saw in my other video, I did a locking stitch inside, so you can do that and it gives you a better quality to lock the lining down. That saves it from waving around when you hang the curtains up. So here now, this, remember I was telling you about that 4 inches that I put at the side there. Here we're going to fold it in at 4 inches, then fold it in at 2 inch. So because the marking's inside, let's just measure that again. So there's a 4 inch, making sure that I've still got my 6 inch there. And it seems to find itself. I'll give it a little stretch. And iron it. And from here, I turn it in again. It's almost like the bottom of the curtain when I'm making the curtain. I turned it in because I do it this way because you get a nicer, sharper edge. So there you can see can see, it's nice and sharp right along here, which is the important part. Here is sharp as well, it doesn't really matter that much, but at least it's sharp. And then what I do is I take my fella machine, stitch it down, or you can hand sew it if you wish, if you haven't got a machine like mine. And here is the curtain weight I was telling you about. Curtain weight, you can put one or you can put two in it if you like. So I think I'll put two in it. And when you stitch that up, you put the curtain weights in it, and it really does weigh it down, and it helps it to stay straight. Look at that. Perfect. No problem. And then from there we move on. So I'm going to go and do the other side, and then I'm going to stitch this up, and I'll bring this back to the table. We turn this under, we put our return under, so that's secured. So now we're going to do the measurement thing. So we're going to now divide it by an odd number, and in this case we're going to divide it by 7. So 40 inches, which is the width going across, divide by 7 equals 5.71. Now that's 5.71 underneath and 5.71 on top. So what I do is I double it times 2 equals 11.42 and a half inches. So what I do now is I say 11 point, just under half an inch, quarter of an inch. Here's my first one. I do top and bottom, 11.42. There's the other one. So I'm going to fold it in the middle. I'm going to fold it, there's my point. So that's the first one done. Let's put this underneath. So we've got that nice and straight there. And I measure it again. 11 and a quarter. Never come round with it. 11, just under a quarter. And I'm going to put another rod in. Put those two together. Get those even up. And turn it back over. I've actually got the machine for this too, but I thought I'll just do it this way. It's not working out actually. I'll show you it later. Little device. Quarter. Don't need to measure it really because it's on top of each other, aren't they? Let's try and simplify. Right, so that's that.